In this week's episode, we talk with Holly Rose Holland. She has 15 years of experience as a spouse, 24 years as a parent, 11 years as a survivor, supporting others who are experiencing grief. In moving through the grief process, she noticed many people were stuck around death, relationships, employment, and often changes in themselves. Holly has always wanted to write a book and enjoys sharing what she has learned about creating a life after loss. And she's written her book, and we are going to hear all about it and how to get it and what you need to learn in this episode. And if this is something that is resonating with you, if you are going through grief and need help, then this is a definite podcast for you to listen to. And we talk about the marketing journey that she's going through and how she came to where she is now and what she's doing now. So that is going to happen. But first, I need to tell you my marketing moment that I want to share with you. So this week's marketing moment is all about Clubhouse. And we talk a little bit about this in the podcast too. And if you are interested in what Clubhouse is about, right now, whenever this is going to air at the time, it's for iPhone use only, but they are going to open it up to Android users for the app, the mobile app. And so you can get an invitation from me as we earn new invitations. We're inviting people, but you have to send me notification that you want to be invited and that you have an iPhone. And so if you can go to clubhouse.marketingexpedition.cub, the website clubhouse.marketingexpedition.cub, you can join the Marketing Expedition community on Clubhouse. And we host that right now. We're doing Wednesdays, 3:30 Mountain Standard Time for the Clubhouse room that you can join. And if you need an invitation to be able to join Clubhouse, go to that website, clubhouse.marketingexpedition.cub, and fill out the form, and then I can send you an invite as I earn them. And again, so we're going to be doing these on Wednesdays at 3:30 Mountain Standard Time, and you will be able to join us, and we will talk all about what Clubhouse is and what it means to join the stage, to be able to speak when you're invited to speak, and how moderators moderate the rooms, and what it is, and how do you utilize Clubhouse, and maybe how you monetize it, and what you can do, and how you can go about doing it, and how you can grow your Clubhouse following, and all of those things. So again, that website is clubhouse.marketingexpedition.club. So there's your marketing moment from Ray. And now I have one more thing to share with you. The affiliate link that I want you to go to is peppershock.com/offers. And there are all kinds of links and things that you can gain as far as different gifts and promotional things that we have to offer, because we are, after all, on a marketing expedition. So there's going to be a little bit of that. But this week we are going to feature the Stash app, and you can get $20 of a stock by investing. So Stash is a banking app, a savings app, an investing app, and you can try it with the link. So go to peppershock.com/offers, click on the Stash app offer, and then you'll get $20 of a stock. And then, of course, I'll get a bonus as well for having referred you to the Stash app. So you can go stash your cash or stash your investments, right? It's a great tool. We've been using it. I've been showing the kids about how to invest in the stock market, how to save money, and you can do things in the app like save money for a trip to Hawaii or whatever it is that you're saving money for. And that just happens to be something that we want to do. So you can do that in the app, and then, of course, use the app link that we gave you in the show notes and at peppershock.com/offers. Okay, so without further ado, let's listen in on Holly's interview.
Welcome to Peppershock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have Holly Rose Holland. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And Holly, you've spent 15 years of experience as a spouse, 24 years as a parent, and 11 years as a survivor. Let's talk a little bit about that. What are you talking about when you are a survivor?
My husband passed away from a terminal illness from pancreatic cancer. And so between myself and two young kids, we had to figure out a way to survive that situation.
And so through that journey, you've learned a lot and you've done a lot of things. Tell us about some of the things that you've learned along the way and now what you're doing to help others.
Well, as I went through the process, there was a lot of different things that happened. We were very much in a hockey community, and we found right away that keeping with some of our normal activities of our life were really helpful for us. And I was really lucky that way. I had to get the kids out of the house, to school, and to their sports. So I always kind of had a project that I was working on. But I noticed that people that didn't have a project really would get stuck. They just seemed to feel that because there was grief, there was nothing to be had beyond that. It was just going to be all sadness. Mm-mm. And I just thought that's just too sad. We've got the rest of our lifetime. And having that, although we might feel that we're extra honoring the person, really it's almost like holding ourselves hostage.
Right. And now to help others, you've created a group and you've written a book. Tell us about what ways that you are letting yourself not hold yourself hostage, I would say.
Yes. Well, I noticed, as I said, about once I realized they were stuck, okay, now what is different about my situation compared to others? And I thought I would gather a group together. The first thing I had noticed in myself was that I really needed to talk. And it's so awkward for some people. They'll do things like, go down the different aisle in the grocery store. Or when they are talking with you, they change the subject. And it's not that you're trying to get them to fix it. Sometimes you just need to say something. And I just thought people need a place to come and gather. So I discovered we didn't have that kind of a program within our town. I started, local. Mm-hmm. Of course, now I love doing everything like international, especially the way things have opened up for us and changed. But just gathering people together and just, I would say, you can talk, or if it's easier for you, just listen, just be present. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll tell people, if you're really feeling lonely and just really stuck in the grief part, sometimes what's helpful is just to go somewhere public.
Right.
Even if it's at a mall, you sit on a bench and, you're surrounded by life.
Right. Even if you're in a pandemic, still getting out and doing something and being around people, but socially distanced.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Like actually right here, right now we have to be outside if we want to do that. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, still, even a park, I mean, it's warmed up today, so you can actually comfortably sit outside.
And where are you calling from, Holly? Tell people where you're from.
I'm in just outside of Edmonton, Canada.
And so the weather there is nice, almost spring-like for you?
Well, not exactly.
Yeah, there's still snow. Yeah, in Idaho where I'm at right now, there's quite a bit of snow. We went out and shoveled snow at my grandparents yesterday, and it was well over a foot, and they hadn't moved or left the house for almost a week, and it's been snowing here. So by the time that this gets played, hopefully the snow will melt and we'll have spring, and I guess it's called spring fever, right? Ready for the springtime to come around.
Exactly.
Yes. Renewal, life and renewal. I guess that's a good theme for us to have that renewal in life, especially after you experience like you did and go through that and share that. And I just love what you're doing to help others get through that process since you've been there, and everyone obviously grieves differently and in their own way, but it's nice to have somebody that can listen, or you can share your your experience or your journey so that others feel like they're not alone, or they're not going through this process alone, right?
Yes, very much so. Yes, I was really lucky in that some of the different things that I started doing, kind of share my business, opened up a lot of doors for me. Well, of course, one of them is the way that you and I met.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And that also, from that group, I understand that you and I both belong to, is also kind of one of the things that encouraged you to write your book. Is that right?
Yes, very much so. We had a conversation with different ones about different things that we were all looking forward to, and one person came up with an idea of having a writer's retreat at a castle.
And a castle, I love it.
It was, and in Ireland.
Yes.
And I had always really loved traveling, and I had been going on a few different trips. Did I exactly have Ireland down? It not necessarily, but I do have family from that area.
Huh.
And just sometimes it's just the timing was just perfect.
Yeah.
We had just discussed something about writing a book. And then, as I discovered when I was doing my book, I set out thinking, this is going to be a great way, I felt, to help others. I'm going to write down things that I learned. Now, there's lots of grief books, but the thing is, there's just things about people's personality is one thing that I did reflect in the book. I think you hear people say, when there's a terminal illness, the whole family has the disease.
Oh, yeah.
And I think sometimes we're just like, okay, what do they really mean by that? It's one of those things you almost need to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, there are things that are more on a personal level that people just don't talk about them. They don't say that the people get grumpy, and here you are trying to walk around on eggshells. You're trying to do everything that's needed, but you can be dealing with a lot of anger. So I just thought it's important to put those down. Like when people read the book, then they'll say to me, oh, wow, yeah, like, I guess truthfully, I just didn't feel comfortable verbalizing that. So I just thought it was such an important part.
Yeah.
And then once I started writing, it took a long time to write the book. But what I discovered is I could only write to a certain amount, or a certain point. Either it was about something, or it was about, a lot of it truthfully was about me. Mm-hmm. I'd get to a certain thing that I was stuck on. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm trying to write. And it was actually happening simultaneously. I was actually reading some books, and the same sort of thing was happening. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. Like, how is it that this is how they're so aligned?
Yeah.
And as I would discover things about me, then I could keep writing past that.
Good. So did you develop a routine to get, the pages down and written, or was it kind of sporadic for you? Did you make it happen because you were determined to get it done, or, like you said, it took you a while. So do you think that it took you a while because it was just on the spur of the moment when you wanted to write?
No, actually, initially we all did the writing, like the group that was doing the writing retreat. Mm-hmm. There was a few different kind of components to that, I would say. A lot of us started writing in April. So that was April 2019. Mm-hmm. And then we wrote right up to when we went to the castle. Then like some came along and some did more of a virtual experience, and also some joined in later. So the Karen McDermott, the publisher, she very much encourages people to establish that habit. And we know from lots of things that 21 days is usually required to establish a habit. And if you do write every day, that really does, it opens things up differently for you, I guess is the way that I would describe, especially if you might be a person that's maybe you're sort of just dabbling in, like, you're wondering, am I a writer? Am I not a writer?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's a huge exploring thing. And just writing every day. And you're like, when you're doing that draft, you are not doing any editing whatsoever.
That's
you
good.
Start, put whatever comes to mind, put it down.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day, same thing. When you get to the end of what you feel is everything that you have, then you put it aside for anywhere for 3 days to maybe a week. That's when you start your editing.
Gotcha.
So I would say at times the editing wasn't as every day. What I found about it was because I wrote so much emotion into the book, it would be hard to read it sometimes. Like I truthfully, like I've proofread it so many times. I think, yeah, but I think the last time maybe I didn't cry, but like it's kind of bizarre, but I mean, obviously it's my story. I know it well,
right.
And yet I can still make myself cry virtually.
Feel those emotions, and it's real, it's raw, it's it's probably a good thing for your soul to be able to do that. And there's obviously nothing wrong with that, and it's good as a good part of your healing journey, right? And now you've got this book that everyone else can read and go through that with you and share that with you. I think it's great. It is. It's and I love that you got to go to a castle in Ireland to do this writing retreat. I mean, that in and of itself has got to be a healing, fun, exhilarating experience to be a part of that. And Shelley Jorgensen, who led the group there in her executive networking events group, she's doing it again, right? And going to the castle again. And I can't wait to go through that process and go through the writer's retreat and, all of the things. So that's going to be phenomenal. So are you going to go again?
I am actually registered to go on another retreat. Gotcha. It's strictly a writer's one. And so what I'm planning to do is to join for a couple of the networking days, which is where I met some of the other people,
right,
that also had that same experience. So I will be there for a week for sure. Now, of course, it's going to depend like when it is. And, but I believe the two are going to be run right beside each other. That's how it was last time. The event was first. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the plan. We are actually supposed to have already done that retreat in January.
Yeah, thanks to the pandemic.
And there's other plans around it. Like I know they're planning a book tour as well. So all of that, like I'm sure all the time will be as well. I did also have an opportunity to visit a cousin that was discovered through Ancestry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to go and visit her as well because of this event. I'm going to go and visit a lot of these people that I have connected with, a huge amount of people in all the countries in the UK.
Right.
So can't wait to see
That's
the
going to be
person.
awesome. Yeah. And that's really, truly what one of the things that the pandemic did do is allowed us to connect with people across the pond or, oh, wherever in the world that they are, Australia, all over. And now I think that's so awesome that you're going to go see them in person and meet them in person. And then it's as if you'll already know, and, as if you've known them for years. Wait, you have, right? I mean, but yeah. And I'm so happy to hear that we can be in person, after this pandemic is subside, we get through that and people get their vaccines and whatnot. But I think that it will be an amazing experience for people to do and travel and meet up and that kind of thing.
It is, sorry, I'm just going to say it is such a lovely location. Like I can't say enough about it. It's like as much as you could imagine about a castle, how lovely the environment is, and the people they are so warm. It's like you're literally staying at their house.
Right. And then there's like the countess and the butler, right? And the people to take care of you. And that's, I know, I'm excited about this journey that we'll get to go on. I think it'll be amazing.
For sure.
But yeah, now I just wanted to talk a little bit about your background and kind of a little bit more about you and just, back up a little bit and tell me kind of, what's kind of some things that maybe have inspired you or maybe some things that you have listened to or were motivated by in your journey to where you are now.
There's been the networking, I have to say, is the first thing that was really good for me. That was a bit into the journey. So that would have been, I want to say about year 9 to 10.
Gotcha.
And, just chatting with other people, exchanging business ideas. And the pandemic, I know, has really opened things for a lot of people, but I have to say, really, my opening really was way back when I had first started with the Veranda, with Shelley's original virtual networking group. And the thing that really struck me is we often think we've got this certain situation that's affecting us, and we can have such a narrow view of it, thinking that it only affects us. Or maybe it's only in our country, or maybe only, you and I, Ray, the US and Canada, so similar in a lot of ways. And I thought, well, I don't think it'll be that similar with other countries. I was just like, wow, like everybody has the same situations.
Right. Yeah.
We might have a different environment, but we all have the same feelings. We all have the same things that we're going to struggle with. Like a lot of the details might be different, but the real basics are the same.
We all have the human condition, right?
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to listen to people's accents too. Your Canadian accent, and I'm sure you think I have an accent, and people from all over the. It's just fun to listen to, our Australian friends, or even British or London or Paris, wherever. Right? It's fun to listen to the various accents that we get exposed to through the online networking. Right? Totally. And I guess I should say, because we are on a marketing journey, right? We're talking about the marketing expedition that we're going through. What kind of gave you the idea to think about doing online networking? Like, what inspired you, or what did you click on, or what did you do to get introduced to online networking?
I was trying to think of some different ways of expanding my network, just reaching different people. And I had been doing a little bit of Facebook Live and doing some Facebook classes. And I just found, to me, it seemed like there's a whole world out there. Yeah. Why wouldn't we reach like beyond? And then I was invited to the Veranda. That was the very first one. I'm trying to think of what another, I mean, it's now there's so many different ones
Mm-hmm.
that we've got so many choices, and I mean, I find I have to kind of limit sometimes because you could literally be on these Zoom calls all day long.
Yeah, you totally could. Well, and I should take this opportunity to do a self plug promotion. The Marketing Expedition, we meet every third Friday from 10 a.m. To 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, or it's noon Eastern Time. And we process marketing questions and ideas and networking with other people that want to come on and do that. And you're right. I mean, we could have lots of these different Zoom meetings that we can do online networking for, but it's one way to host and then meet people too, by hosting a networking event online. And the groups that we're doing now, and the, like you said, the Facebook Lives, and being able to reach and connect people from it virtually anywhere, right? And that's the exciting part, is to be able to expand your network. And you really have, right? I mean, by doing this, you've been able to reach people from all over. And do you think in your group, you would say that people, because you said you started local, but now you've expanded to elsewhere too, right? Other people are joining from everywhere?
Yes, and actually this fall I leaned more towards a writing group.
Ah.
And there was actually, I guess I was trying to figure out what is going to be the best way for people to feel comfortable. It seemed that there wasn't the comfort as much as I was hoping to inspire for them. So once we opened up the writing end, and I said, okay, now it doesn't need to be a book. You can plan for next year. You can journal. Like I started journaling, I don't know, maybe around 5 years ago. And I really find journaling every day, whether it's gratitude, whether it's about Reiki, whatever things you wanna put down, even if it's your plan for the day. Writing, I just found, could be really freeing. And once I opened up that writing group,
Mm-hmm.
people came in at different. They're all on different pages, but they're all wanting to do some sort of writing, and I just find it so exciting when they start saying, you know what, I figured out now. I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good. It's just so like really the expression. Although for some people, talking is natural. For a lot of people, it's better for them to either write or do something creative. Like it could be dancing, but a lot of people, they need to get something onto a page or get something recorded.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sort of reflect back on it.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. So that way you can have a way to release your thoughts and feelings, and journaling is absolutely a good way to do that. And so I have to tell you, one of our clients that we created her brand and her website and logo and all those things, it's called My Grief Connection. And she was hosting before COVID, online support. Well, she was doing local support groups, and then now online support groups is what she's doing. Same thing, opening up the world. And I know on her website, she has book recommendations. And I would love for you and her to connect, and that way you could get your book listed there and that. But hers is mygriefconnection.org, and we created her logo, of course, and her story. Her name is Sarah, and her story really started in grieving. In her case, it was her brother who it was a murder suicide that caused this or inspired this group really for her to start. So like you being able to express yourself in your book, she wanted to be able to turn something tragic into something that could help others. And as she went through this process. And so I would love for you guys to connect, and our listeners to, who, if something here resonates, obviously, you will need to get Holly's book, of course, and then make that connection. But My Grief Connection. Yeah, there you go. But
Sure.
yeah. And I know she's doing online support groups too. So it's almost like you guys could partner up or team up together and help offer that kind of thing. And I'm so proud of her. She decided that she's going to go to school to get her master's degree in counseling with a specific, in that tragedy kind of area. So anyway, yeah, so exactly. Yeah. But I like how, the both of you have used those tragedies that you've gone through and surviving, that you've gone through, and then turned it into something that others can benefit from, because it's pain, right? It's what you had to go through. And I love what you said earlier about, being able to have fun without the guilt and getting past that. And I think that is so important for people to understand and realize. And, like you were saying, getting past being able to, you still want to honor the person, but you also have to honor yourself, and you have to be able to, move forward in life. And so I think that's really what you're doing is great. And I think more people around the world need to hear more about what it is that you're doing and how you're helping people. But let's talk about that. How are you getting your messaging out there? How are you sharing, especially during a pandemic? How are you getting your words into the hands of the people who need them?
A lot of different ways, really. I haven't really closed any doors, like there's like with Facebook, a lot of social media. So Facebook and Instagram are the ones that I'm the most comfortable with. I am on LinkedIn as well. That just isn't one that I'm as, I've done some training on it. It's just not one that I use as much. Any podcasts, of course, like this.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
And really connecting with others and their communities has been really a really huge way of just meeting more people. Like, I just can't even believe how many, like, since the castle, really, I mean, it is just like exploded.
And now we're also on Clubhouse, and you've joined me for our Clubhouse room that we had, and you're going to continue to help me moderate, and I think that's going to be fun, and meet people there. And then you're going to have to do your own room specifically around your topic, and then we'll invite people to come and be a part of that. And Clubhouse is it's new, it's in beta mode, as we learned some of the glitches that we were running into, and it's only for right now. It's for iPhone users, but they are working on an Android app, and I'm not sure when that'll be out yet. So maybe by the time the podcast runs, they'll have that going. But it is also at the moment by invitation only, and so I always run out of invites, and people want to be invited. So we'll have to continue to get people on Clubhouse with us and listen to our rooms and our live audio rooms, live audio chat rooms, I guess. Yeah, for those who don't know what Clubhouse is just yet, that the world is learning very quickly what it is. But so I think that the possibilities of getting your message out there are endless. And like you said, focusing on those that need it and can find you and be able to belong to what you're doing and how you're doing it. So on that note, how do people get your book? How do they get a hold of you? What website can they go to? What can they do, Holly?
Okay, well, everything is available on hollyroseholland.com. So I've got links to the book. The book is actually on ebook and print, and it is available at like all the bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the Kobo, all the general channels, and you can order. Yeah, and I also have the autographed ones on my website as well.
Awesome.
So there's,
I'll have to get one of those in my hands so I can have it. And I was gonna say we'll get a link. I'll get an affiliate link for you and drop it on our peppershock.com/offers page as well. So if people just want a quick and easy way to go, and then we'll put it in the show notes so then people listening to this can find the links in the show notes and everything. And yeah, that's awesome. And then okay, maybe two more questions. You ready?
sure. Yeah.
Well, what are some resources or maybe podcasts or books or some things that you listen to or read, or, some tools that you have that you love that you would want to share with others?
I do refer to a couple of books in my own book, just because of, copyright and that kind of thing. I don't put specifically what are. Mm-hmm. But one is, so the two of them are listed on my website. One is very much for when the person is becoming more frail and you're just not really sure what's going to happen with them at mm-hmm. the end. Mm-hmm. And I was still actually surprised, even in reading the book. I hadn't quite finished it because I got to a certain point and I thought to myself, okay, we got 2 copies of this book right now. And there's somebody in my life that needs to read it a bit more than I do right this second. So I did pass it to them. And I'm not certain that, because of course, because it is life and death, it's not, the things that happen are not exact. It's not an exact science. It's not like a manual where they just say, oh, that happens, check. It's not like that at all. And in fact, I thought, like, someone had just told me, okay, now this particular stage that your husband is in, this can last for several months. And I mean, it was just such a painful state. And I was just like, oh, like it really grabbed me.
Yeah. And
so I was sort of in that kind of mindset. And it was within an hour he had actually died.
Oh, wow.
So that I was definitely, they say, you're on the rug and then someone just kind of goes, whoosh,
Yeah.
That's very much how it was.
Wow.
And then, so that is a really good book. So, if people check the website, they'll see what that one of those is. The other one was about how you act after you're impacted by a death.
Right. Okay.
And, here I was, a lot of people gave me books, but these were the 2 that were that they still really stand out for me. Mm-hmm. And I start reading this book and, here it is describing all these various things.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like I was on the outside watching. And even though they were describing this, I didn't relate it to me at all. Oh. It was almost a year later that I realized I was doing the exact same things as this person in this book.
It took some time to get there, but then you did, and then you knew what to expect by having read that then.
Yeah, like I was actually on the phone speaking with someone about attending an event, and they asked me a question, something about, it was related to my husband's office. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they said something about, oh, did you ever go to the office? I'm like, well, yes, like lots of times. Mm-hmm. And while I was on the phone with her, I realized why, and she's like, so what would be the reason for that? Yeah. So, you'll see from the book, both books, like it was really good. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I think it's what point you're at. Mm-hmm. You need to be in a certain kind of like time in your grief process, mm-hmm. as well as how much you've been around grief really, I found, made a big difference too.
Right. And not staying in the constant state of denial, right? And just, you know, you can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do to avoid the various steps of grief that you have to go through. I mean, some steps probably more than other, right? And in various different stages, like you said, I'm sure. So it's definitely, it's your own journey, but having other people help you along the way and reading those books, like you said, and experiencing those moments, I think that makes it very powerful. Good. So good resources. Any podcasts that you like to listen to?
Yes, well, of course, I listen to yours.
Aw, thank you.
Another one that I listen to a lot is America's Supermom.
America's Supermom. Okay, I'll have to check that out. What's
Yeah.
it about? Give me the premise or what happens.
Lachelle Atkins.
Okay.
It's always like just good stories about, you know, how people make the most of what they have. She has different topics, like right last year it was more all about the pandemic.
Right. And how to be a super mom, right?
Yeah, like now she has 15 children, so if that kind of helps you put it into perspective.
Wow.
And she's busy. She's always like, she's a Clubhouse person too.
Oh, okay.
She's on there.
Check her out on Clubhouse.
Yeah, she's really good. Really fun and very enthusiastic about no matter what she's doing.
Oh, sounds like my kind of person for sure. I love positivity and enthusiasm and high energy because I tend to have that too. I love it. Okay, so for our listeners, because we are on this marketing journey, what do you think has been maybe the number one or maybe the second place tactic that you've taken that has been one of the most impactful strategies or tactics in your entire marketing plan that you would say?
I would say connecting genuinely with people.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many other things that you can do, but really being real, being yourself, and being open to, you know, I think the more open you can be, a lot of times we are sort of almost programmed to kind of judge how things are going to kind of play out. And often I find the best connections are the ones you least expect.
Yeah. I love that. That is great. Connections are definitely, I mean, in whether you're storytelling or, you know, writing a book or on a Facebook Live, making connections with people that can resonate with you, that can, you know, help you share your story, right? And then they can connect with people and they connect with people too. So that's really good. Okay, final thoughts for our listeners. Anything that you would like to share with them? Some words of advice, or maybe some inspiration, or, you know, maybe somebody out there is just maybe kind of struggling a little bit right now. What would you say to them?
You know, it's so important to acknowledge your grief journey. Like never apologize for like the emotion. Work through whatever comes up for you. You can postpone it, but you always will have to experience it. However, once you've spent that time, and of course there's no magic number, and you've done a lot of things around the memories, be prepared to keep moving. Do something fun. Give yourself the permission, like guilt-free. I think we used to have the perception that by staying really sad and not doing much, not really having fun, that we were doing our loved one a service. And really, all you're doing in that case is holding yourself back. You know, I had the opportunity to ask, do you want us to keep living a good life? And I had the opportunity to get the answer. If you didn't have an opportunity to ask, I do have a couple ideas about how you can address that.
Nice.
You know, I mean, life is meant to be fun. Yes, of course, we're sad that they've left, but I guess in my way of thinking, they're not that far away. We're going to see them again and have some fun. They're your angel, and they're just watching down on you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Holly, for sharing your time with us today and giving us all of your words of wisdom. And I think you'll definitely have some people looking up your link to get your book. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate being with you.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, as always, we love your reviews on any of your platforms that you are listening to. If you give us a review, right now what we're doing is if you do that and you screenshot it and send it to info@peppershock.com, then you get to be entered for a chance to win a cool prize, as well as some one-on-one sessions with us, a membership to the marketingexpedition.com website, as well as we wanted to keep it local, so you could also win a gift certificate to your favorite local coffee shop. So we'll have a little research involved there. But everyone, go give us some reviews, give us some love. That's like the best thing that you could do, best compliment you could give us is to share what we have to give you and to give us reviews. So thank you, and until next time, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.cub.